There we go. From Kamloops. Hello. All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you guys are here. Um, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of what to expect for the next few days. So, basically, this training is Business Reboot, the predictable profit formula. This is a variation of a training I've been teaching for many, many years, but it keeps getting better and better. So I'm really excited to share it with you guys because one of the exciting things that came through for this go round is I've created this like interactive dashboard thingy that I'm going to share with you on day two, which is going to be so powerful for just creating like laser focus clarity with your business. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the goal for me in this training is to have you having a clear plan. Hello from Calgary. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Krista. A clear plan and a structure to have a stable and predictable business. And I think this is one of those things that often can get uh, underrated. Like everyone's like, "Oh, I want to feel passion and I want to feel like I'm living my purpose and I want to feel good about what I do." And all those things are important. Let's not, get mixed up. Those are critical. However, without stability and predictability, you will fry your nervous system. And I feel pretty confident in saying that's kind of gonna happen, right? Like, I have been a business coach now for about 13 years, as well as, teaching numerology and doing energy work and business coaching, which I guess if you're new to my world, that might sound like two far apart realms. But if you're not new to my world, you get how they all go together. And by the end of today, you'll get it anyways. Um, but what I've seen over and over again after coaching hundreds and thousands of people over the last 13 years is that you can start with this like high of excitement and drive and motivation and ambition and like, this is going to be so fun. And you wake up and you got all these ideas, but it's not sustainable if you don't have structures and systems in place to create predictability. And, comment in the chat and let me know if you've ever felt this way where you like resist the structures and resist the predictability because it seems boring, it seems hard, it seems overly complicated, or maybe the people who you've heard of creating business structures from, you didn't resonate. And so because you didn't resonate, you're like, that's not going to work for me, right? And if that's the case, no judgment. I think it's actually really important that we choose who we learn from in such a way that there's a resonance. Because I know for me, like I can't learn, I'm a single mom, I've got three children. So I can't learn business strategies from someone who doesn't understand my lived experience and doesn't understand the constraints that go with that. It's like that whole thing of everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. Not if you're a caregiver, you do not. Not if you have other roles and responsibilities, you do not. Like there's so many other factors that kind of play into that I think it's really important that we understand. And I think one of the other fears that a lot of entrepreneurs have, so share with me in the chat if any of what I'm saying is resonating. Oh, hello, Candace. I'm so glad you're here too. Yay. One of the other fears is that we have is that if I put in these structures, is that going to take away from my intuition or my creativity? Or is it going to feel like it's putting me in a box? Okay. And obviously, most of us are entrepreneurs because we don't want to be put in the box. We want to kind of march to the beat of our own drum. We have our own ideas that we want to, follow down the line and kind of see where they evolve into. So, you know, absolutely not. And one of the things I think that I've really come to see evidence of, especially in the last, I would say, 2 years, is that it's actually the opposite. When you have the right structures and foundations in place in your business, your intuition and your creativity can actually be bigger. They have more space to express themselves. Because if you don't have a system and a structure, that means you're holding it all in your brain. That means your brain is carrying the mental load of managing your client funnels, managing your sales process, understanding how you're attracting people, how people are coming in, whether they're staying, whether they're not staying. And it means you're flying by the seat of your pants a lot, which, hey, like I can get on board with that because I often am really good at winging it, really good at winging it. And I love that about myself. And also, I know that I could do it and it will exhaust me if I do it too much. So we need to kind of find the happy medium, the happy balance that allows us to be creative, to be expressive, to be intuitive, but to feel stable and supported. And the more stable you are, the stronger your intuition becomes, the more stable you are, the stronger your creativity becomes. And it's the systems that bridge the gap between those two. So that's kind of the little intro. Feel free to pop in the chat and let me know if anything I've said resonates with you, if you have any questions. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to give you an overview of the next few days so you know what to expect and tell you what we're going to do. And then we'll just get straight into day one. Does that sound good? Okay, so day one, I'm going to go into teaching you a little model that will help contextualize everything that we're talking about here and really go into the three scarcity traps that most entrepreneurs struggle with, or at least a lot of the ones I've worked with struggle with. And I just taught the three scarcity traps to 90 traditional Chinese medicine practitioners and acupuncturists a couple weekends ago. And it was really cool seeing how, whether no matter what your business model is, these traps become very relevant in keeping you stuck in scarcity mode, whether it's in fear of when's the next client coming, uncertainty of when your income is going to, go up or money's coming in or whatever, right? Those kind of feast or famine cycles, it can play out in lots of different ways. So I'm going to go into that. On day two, I'm going to, and sorry, also today I'm going to talk about, so the model I'm teaching you has these three elements to it, and one in particular is the energetic element and the energetic component. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Then Tuesday or Wednesday, day two, I'm going to be sharing more and more about the strategy and the structures. And then on day three, I'm going to be teaching the predictable profit formula, which is basically the data points that you want to look at to understand what's happening with the health of your business. The one thing I'm super excited to share with you guys, I'm going to be teaching you all about this on day two, is this new little dashboard I've created. I'm going to just give you a little sneak peek here because I'm really excited to share this with you. And I think it's really going to ground and anchor everything that we're walking through. So this is the three-stage business model dashboard. I literally just put it together over the last couple days, but I've been doing this pen and paper style for a long time now. So I'm actually really excited because we've got some fun little cells that are programmed to actually map it out for you. So by the end of our time together, you will have this dashboard mapped out. You will have the clarity of what to focus on, when to focus on, what actions to take, when to take them in order to create stable, predictable clients and revenue in your business. Uh, so how does that sound? Does that sound good to you guys? Are we all on board? Yes, excellent. That's what I want to hear. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. And I appreciate those of you who are on video. Um, it means a lot to me that you just take the time to be as present as possible. And I fully get it if you can't. Like, I know multitasking is real. And I also want to just say, if it's possible to set this time aside for yourself, it's only going to be an hour today, an hour the next day, and an hour the next day. 3 hours. That's it. It's like, can we devote that? Or like, are we worth it? Yes, we're worth it. Do you know what I mean? Okay, I'm just going to quickly check in the chat here. Yeah. We're creating the wheel. Okay, Candace, this is so good. And we're definitely going to talk more about this on day two. So Candace is saying, it feels like I'm cutting off a limb if I get too specific in my messaging and my sales process, but then it definitely feels like I'm recreating the wheel too often, and that equals burnout. We are definitely going to talk more about that because I'm the same. And you know that about me. I'm like, I want to talk about business and I want to talk about numerology. And, some people would say that I'm like muddying the waters or creating confusion. And I feel like we can use my business as a case study. I don't know, for good, for bad, for ugly, but I'll share how I navigate wanting to talk about different things and still, making a really good income with my business while doing it. Okay, so really quick before I get into the next section, I'd love to know how many people here have worked with me before, versus how many of you are totally new to my world? I know we've got definitely some familiar faces, but I also see some people who I might not recognize, which is super fun. Um, I'm just going to share a little brief bit about me, just so you know why you should even listen to me at all. Maybe you shouldn't, I don't know. My name is Meaghan Alton. I live in Kelowna, British Columbia. I'm a single mom. I have three children. I have a business degree and a master's degree in economics. I have been a full-time service-based business owner for 13 years at this point, working both as a business coach as well as running numerology trainings, a numerology certification, a public speaker, working at events, things like that over the last 13 years. Raising my three kids. I've got a 15-year-old daughter, an 11-year-old son, and an 8-year-old daughter who's homesick today. So if she pops in the screen at any point in time, that will give you context. Um, and what else can I say? Yeah, that's about it. I am a kind of a bit of a nature hippie girly. I like to spend time camping and in the forest, and I cook a lot of food from scratch. And my son, who's 11, and I have been on a homemade bread making kick lately, and it's become his passion to the point where I can now just like put all the ingredients out on the counter in measuring cups, and he mixes it and kneads it and shapes it. And I have to tell you, I feel like teaching your kids to bake is the greatest life hack ever because then you always have food. Okay, just checking in the chat here. I've been here for a few years on your email list. Oh, through Carly and Donna. Oh, that's so good, Krista. Yeah, they're such great people. Christine, hello. Learn practical numerology from the best. Absolutely, Vicky. Aw, thanks, Candace. A sick kid at home. I know. I feel like it's like everybody's kids are sick right now, right? So good. Thanks, Vicky. Okay, let's get into it. So, um, if you have a piece of paper in front of you, I want you to draw a Venn diagram. Do you guys know what a Venn diagram is? It's when you have like the three circles and like each circle overlaps by a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So you do two circles overlapping and then you do a third circle in the bottom overlapping, and that's called a Venn diagram. I'm going to draw it on my page and then you guys can copy what I did. This is what it looks like. See what I mean? Three circles, each overlapping, and then we're going to label them because this is the model that I want to walk through with you guys today. So the first circle, I want you to label skills, okay? This is your craft. This is your magic. This is your work. This is what you're trained on. You have experience in. This is your education. This is what you've studied. This is what you have, like maybe a training or a certification. This is like, so many of us, our trainings and certifications are based on like the School of Hard Knocks in terms of it was our own life challenges that brought us to this point of like, I need to learn about this and I need to understand about this and I want to go deep on this. So you studied on it, you took courses, you read, you researched, whatever that is. Okay, that's the first diagram, and that's skill. Okay. The second circle in the Venn diagram is actually going to be energy. And for those of you who know me from numerology or are intuitive and sensitive yourselves, you will understand what I mean by this. And when I say energy, what I mean is something that creates energetic alignment for you. It's aligned with who you are, what matters to you, what's important to you, the energy codes that you carry. And one of the things that I really love to do with my clients is I look at their energy through the lens of numerology to help them to understand what types of business models and structures work best for them, because it's like it is not a one size fits all. Okay, let's be very clear. Different systems will work for different people for all kinds of different reasons, but one of them will be if your energy codes are aligned with that system. And I think it's actually really important when you start to see this, because you can learn from lots of different mentors and copy and paste their models. But I would highly recommend the more you know about how your own energy works, the more you can like tweak it and adjust it a little bit so that it actually fits in your energy. And where I think I see people kind of go a little sideways in this is it's like, well, this model worked for so and so. I'm going to copy and paste it and use it for me, and I'll try to do it exactly the way they did. Right? Has anyone ever tried that? Like I've definitely tried that. I'm like, if it works for them, it'll work for me. Copy and paste, and then like 6 months in or 3 months in or whatever, I'm like pulling my hair out because it's not working for me for whatever reason. That's one way we go sideways with that's the energy piece is their codes are likely different than ours. And so if we could understand what that was, we could tweak their model to fit better with our energetic signature. And then it's going to actually be more effective for us. So knowing what that is for you is key, key, key. And then the third circle, does anyone have a guess at what the third circle is? I'm like, is this the most obvious or the least obvious? I don't know. The third circle is strategy. Structures. Candace, you got it. Bang on. Strategy, structures, having a good system, right? I mean, I'm going to kind of use all those three words interchangeably strategy, structure, system. It's the framework that you have in place that holds your business. And I really want you to have this visual for a minute because I hate when people think structure and systems are boring and they're not feminine because that's so, so, so false. Your business holds you, right? Your business needs a structure to hold it. If your business doesn't have the right structure to hold it, it loses momentum, it gets leaky energy, and it's like think of it this way. Think of it as a river that has like solid banks, right? Like built up solid banks, whether it's like rocks or like, you know, how sometimes in like channels they have like cement walls and that water can flow, right? That's like the currency in your business, whether it's energy, sales, money, clients, momentum, magnetism. That's that current in your business. If you don't have a solid structure, and let's just say you kind of have these like loosey goosey, muddy walls, the water just kind of spills over the edges and kind of becomes stagnant, and you lose momentum, you lose magnetism, and you lose flow. So, this is why no matter who you are, but especially if you are sensitive and intuitive, or sensitive or intuitive, it's so important to have a structure that supports you because that is what's holding and containing your energy. That is what's allowing your energy to thrive. And if you have to waste your precious capacity and resources on things that could be handled by a system or a structure, you will exhaust yourself and you will burn yourself out. And I see it happening over and over again. I've gone through it myself. And even though I know this and I teach this stuff, I still have to be reminded of it every so often of like, right, Meaghan, look at the model. It will tell you your next step. Because tell me I'm not alone. Or it's like you take a few days off work, maybe it's like the weekend, or maybe you took some time off over Christmas break, and then you sit back down at your computer and you're like, who am I again? What do I do? What do people want to hear from me? What am I selling? Like it happens. And that's like, I don't know, maybe it's just the symptom of being a, you know, middle-aged 45-year-old woman with three kids where it's like the brain just exits sometimes. But arguably, it's the case for all of us. And one of the things that really saved me when I came to learn about this was the understanding that we have enough, like our brain runs on glucose, okay? We have enough brain glucose on any given day to do about 2 to 4 hours of deep strategic thinking, and that's it. After that 2 to 4 hour time frame is up, your ability to do deep strategic thinking or complex thinking goes down. And it's not a failure on your part. It doesn't mean you're broken. If there's nothing wrong with you, that's just literally how the brain works. So that's why we need things that save our mental load. That's why we have like our checklists and our habits and our routine, because if we can rely on habit, if we can rely on checklist, if we can rely on routine, that saves your brain from doing the deep thinking. So if you knew that, if you knew my brain has 2 to 4 hours of like good solid effort to put in, and the rest it's going to rely on routine or the other structures that hold my back, it's like, what do you want that 2 to 4 hours to go to? Right? I don't want it to go to stuff that my checklist could be handling for me, right? Or that my business plan could be handling for me. I want it to go to solving a client's really complex problem, or I wanted it to go to developing content for a workshop I'm going to deliver, right? Like that's what I want my like deep thinking brain to go towards. And I have all the hacks, and Candace is good at this too, so you could always talk to her about this, but I have all the hacks to save it. Like my kids and I, we eat the same 5 meals on repeat every single week. And the brilliant thing about that is I never have to think about what's for dinner. I never have to change my grocery order because I order the same food every single week. And I never have to deal with the kids fighting over this and that because it's like we all agreed on these same 5 meals. Some people might be like, it's boring. And I'm like, well, it's saving my brain, so it's worth it. Yeah, too many leaks. Okay, good. Any questions about this structure before we get into the next piece? And we're going to keep kind of, this is like providing the container for us today for the next 3 days, the container that we're going to keep coming back to. Oh, I do have a hand up for you. Let me share that with you. It's not like an over the top handout. It's just a few little journaling prompts and things like that if you feel like you like that kind of thing, which I usually do. So, oh my God, yes, thank God. Thank you for checking, Candice. I am recording, but can you imagine if I wasn't? It would be a nightmare. Okay. So the first question I want to ask you is, what is the segment of these three skills, energy, strategy that you're like, I'm pretty confident in this? Like this would be the one where I feel like I'm doing pretty good on. Does anyone have a want to unmute or pop it in the chat? Want to share where they're feeling like I'm winning at this? And like let's remember to like celebrate ourselves and shout ourselves out. You're allowed to be really good at what you do. Skills. Absolutely. And can I just say that as women, we are so conditioned to underplay our skills. Statistically speaking, women tend to downplay their skills so much more than men. In a study I was reading a while back that was so interesting to me, men will apply for jobs where they have less than 100% of the skills, knowing that they can figure it out and learn them. Women will only apply for jobs when they have as close to 100% of the skills as possible, thinking to themselves that they're not even qualified, they won't even apply. So let's remember to be slightly more confident in ourselves and recognizing that you figured out all of the challenges that have you faced to this point, and you can put yourself in the ring even if you're at like the 80% mark or whatever that number needs to be for you, but like you have confidence to figure it out. Like you can, right? So true. Yes. I do have a lot of people catching this on the replay too. So I'm like, thank God we were recording. So yes, come and go as you need to. I will send replays out, but of course, like live is to me is always better. Good with skills and strategy, lacking on energy. Amazing, Krista. We're going to talk about that. Skills and energy are my strengths. I need to figure out supports. Amazing. So good. Okay. Yeah, and that was the other question. What's the area that you want to kind of grow in or that you want to sort of work through? Okay. The next place I want to go to next is I want to talk about, I'm calling these the three scarcity traps, but these are the things that they're like belief systems or thoughts that we hold as true. That are not true at all, and they trip us up all the time. So I'm going to go through those, and then after I'm done going through those, we're going to talk about the energy piece. And like I said on day 2, we'll talk more about the structure and strategy piece. So, number 1, the first scarcity trap that people fall into, especially service-based entrepreneurs, especially if they're sensitive, especially if they're intuitive, is if I'm just really good at what I do, clients will come. And this shows up like obsessed with getting the next training, the next certification, the next, diploma, ticket, gold star from a teacher, right? It can also kind of feel a bit like approval seeking behavior because it's like if somebody would just tell me I was good enough, then maybe I would believe I was good enough. Then maybe my clients would believe I was good enough and then they would just come and it would be fine, right? And I think there's a lot of there's a lot. How many people have believed this before? I know I have, right? It's like, I'll just figure out, I'll just take this next course and then my practice will be busy. I'll just take the next ticket certification, then I'll be busy. Tell me, have you experienced this before? Okay. Where the people who are really good at their craft, whatever it happens to be, are not always the people who have the busiest practice. These skills are not one and the same. To have a busy practice, to be good at your skill, your craft, your work, these are not correlated at all. You can have people who are terrible at what they do and have a really busy practice. And you can have people who are brilliant at what they do and have a terribly slow practice. And both, right? Like absolutely both. And like sometimes like I have a an energy worker that I love to go see, and she's in small town Alberta, and her prices are like dirt cheap. She's never busy. She has the worst marketing plan in the world. I don't even think she cares. I think she's fine with her business model being the way she is. But if you went and looked at her website or you based it on anything, you just think, oh, this isn't very professional. She must not be very good. And she is incredible. They're not the same thing. And we really need to decouple that. And I think this myth gets perpetuated by people who've been in business for a really long time, who are just like, oh, I don't know, like I just started my business and people just came and now I just have 100% referrals. That's how I do my business. Okay, that might be true if you've been in business for a very long time and you have a specific type of business model that generates a lot of repeat customers or a lot of referrals. But if you're like starting with, coming to this call, you probably don't have a full practice in this moment. So if that's the case, you can't, that's not a way to grow. That's not a way to grow, right? So it's tricky because you might talk to someone who's been doing it for a while and they're like, oh yeah, like I didn't really do social media, but like I'm really busy. It's like, well, just because they say that doesn't mean it will be true for you. And like, how long ago did they start? And how often do they have repeats and referrals? And what is their model, right? Like, every single model is different. But if you are operating from like not a full book or not a full practice right now, then it's like, well, that's not good advice. I can't control. We'll talk about this more tomorrow, but I shouldn't say you can't control referrals. But referrals are one of the most unpredictable and difficult levers to control, right? Whether you guys are out there saying good things to me, about me, to other people, and the other people actually follow through with a message to me, I have zero control of that. I can ask you, could you please post about this on social media? Which could you please? That would be great. It would mean the world to me. Tag me on social media. Could you please give me a Google review? That would be great. Thank you so much. I'll send the link out later because it would mean the world to me. I can do that. But is that going to guarantee somebody calls me and books in? Right? It's hit or miss. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And it depends on the business model and depends on lots of different things. And so I really want us to recognize it is not necessarily about how skilled you are. Do not like decouple the number of clients you have and the amount of money you're making from the quality of your work. Those are not related. You can be the best and be struggling financially, but you'd be the worst and be thriving financially. Okay. These are not the same thing. Okay. I hope I've like drilled that point home, but it breaks my heart when I people feel people like having a lack of self-confidence in their work because they're not just like magically having clients appear on their doorstep. It doesn't work that way. Like, let's just bust that myth right now. Okay, we all on board with that? The solution to that, we're going to talk about more tomorrow, but the solution to that is going to be your stage ones, which I'm going to teach you exactly what that means tomorrow. But your stage one is how you build your audience and how you generate leads. And we're going to talk exactly how you build your audience and generate leads tomorrow. But I just want to kind of plant that seed now so that you're like, I'm not leaving you hanging. I'm going to give you a solution to that, right? And if you generate your leads in the right way, and if you have effective stage ones, which we'll talk about what are good ones, what are not so good ones, then you know what levers attract clients. You know, when I do X, Y, and Z, people will call me or people will book in or people will DM me, however you get clients, like that will start to happen. And that is within your control. And then you just map it out on your calendar, right? So for those of you who are at the year ahead planning retreat, that's what we did. It's like, well, what are my stage ones and where am I going to do them throughout the year? And let me sticky note that onto my calendar so that I know I'm always going to have every single month some lever to push that will bring in clients. Okay. Trap number two. Any more questions about trap number one before I move on to trap number two? Okay, trap number two. Oh, this one makes me sad. Um, the whole relationship with sales. And this sounds like selling is unethical. Selling is slimy. I'm not good at sales. I'm bad at sales. Selling is pushy. It's not for me to tell people what to do or to push people into something. And because I'm so afraid of telling people what to do or pushing someone into something, I literally do nothing. And when I do nothing, it actually makes my clients think there is nothing available for them. They actually don't know what to do. And I'm kind of, getting to the answer here. But I'd love to just check in with you guys as to how many of you feel sticky or uncomfortable or resistance bubble up when you know there's going to be a sales conversation. And I'm putting that in air quotes, where people are either going to be like, how much do you charge? What does it look like to work with you? What are my options? Or when it's on you to be like, would you like to know what my options are? Would you like to know about how to book with me? Like, how many of you feel uncomfortable about that? Like a little, like, ooh, a little cringy, a little like, ooh, I gotta say it, but it's hard to get it out. Right? Yes. Even sending an email, I think I need to think about it more. And that's another thing is like working and reworking the script, working and reworking the call to action, working and like editing. And it's like, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I get so stuck in my head and overthinking that I'm sick of it. And then I don't even want to hit send in the end, or I don't want to publish in the end. Uncertainty on wording. Yes. And I get stuck on my words. Yeah. I'm going to give you guys some really easy strategies around this to help you. But I am very passionate about sensitive people, intuitive people, energy workers, healers, alternative practitioners, anybody that's in a service-based practice getting good at sales because people don't know what they don't know. And we don't realize what we think is being unattached is actually unwelcoming. We don't realize the difference between the two. And so I want you to explore that on your own, either tonight or whenever, if you're going for a walk and you're thinking things through or journaling, how does my unattachment, does it sometimes come off as unwelcoming? And it's like it kind of makes me think of like the idea of like the resting bitch face, where it's like we think we look fine, and yet somebody else is like, "What's her deal?" It's like, "No, I'm fine." And it's like, "No, I'm just have a solid case of resting bitch face." But we can be like that in sales. We think we're neutral, and we're actually unwelcoming, and it's heartbreaking. The reason why this makes me so sad is because so many people who need help with something feel unwelcomed, and so they don't know how to get the help they need. And remember, if you're dealing with people who are going through a hard time, who are struggling, who have any level of like insecurity or trauma or self-doubt, it's already hard enough for them to ask for help in the first place, let alone ask for help and figure out what to do next, even in an environment where they feel slightly unwelcomed, right? It doesn't feel good. And it's like they're left with this gap, and it's like we don't know that. We don't realize that. So what can we do different, right? Exactly. Yes. I feel okay with the offer. It's the nurturing we're supposed to do before and after the thing, right? I try not to overthink my value, especially when people want a discount for my services. Amazing. Let's talk about that too, Tara. If I don't remember to bring it up on the next 2 days, bring it up on either day two or day three for sure. I sent my prices for a friend and I was waiting for them to get back to me. And When I checked in, she was waiting for me. Like, how many things get dropped when it's just like that simple miscommunication? I don't want to be unwelcoming, but I also know who I want to work with, and I hope it's aligned. Exactly. Exactly. So good. Okay. So that's number three. And the part that's missing in that is what I would call like decision architecture or creating decision points. Okay. And this is the stage two that we're going to talk about more tomorrow. So, decision architecture or creating decision points. And it's like when those are not in place, when you don't have decision points built into your business model, sales becomes just a lot more uncomfortable, right? Whereas when it's a decision point, you can really empower your client to help them figure out like what's right for me and how do I get through my problem, get through my challenge, right? Yes. And that's the other thing too. Shame for mamas, mama guilt. Yeah. I have to give right. I have to give a lot of assurance and maybe I give to, and this is the other thing. Like when we're uncomfortable with sales, we think, well, like it'll like get better if we just like overgive, right? Like, oh, okay, well, like I know this is really hard for you, so I'll just give you this and this and this and this for free. I'll just give you all the things. Yes, scratch the itch, overgive. And it's like if we're feeling uncomfortable, there's another question I invite you to sit with tonight in reflection. But there's in the sales process, it's inherently uncomfortable. Okay. So let's just be okay with that. It's uncomfortable to sell. Has anyone ever heard of the term sales tension? That's when you want something and you're thinking you're going to buy it and you want to buy it, but you're not quite sure and you haven't fully bridged the gap from like don't have it to have it. You're somewhere in the middle. And it's buyer's tension. It's like, oh, I want it. Oh, can I afford it? Oh, should I buy it? Do I deserve it? Am I good enough to have it? What will my husband think? Will someone judge me? Like all of those questions that come up, that's called buyer's tension, and it's uncomfortable. And if you are someone who's sensitive, you have this equation in your brain that equals discomfort equals bad. So you see your client feeling uncomfortable and you want to like leap in to like fix it. Like, oh, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. Like, how do I backpedal this or overgive that or fix this so that they don't feel uncomfortable? And if I can give you one permission slip, it's to let them feel uncomfortable. You don't have to be cold. You don't have to abandon them. In fact, letting them be uncomfortable and being in it and present with them is a gift. Because the reason it's often uncomfortable is that, so don't have it to have it, okay? The reason it's uncomfortable is what I have to do to bridge that gap. Now, my brain is going to tell me it's money because that's the quickest, easiest, low hanging fruit excuse to make, right? I can't afford it. I want it, but I can't afford it. That's the quickest, easiest, low hanging fruit. Sometimes it's legit, but oftentimes it's actually not. I actually have other things going on. It's like how anger is a top level emotion and it's actually buried under other things like sadness, betrayal, shame, guilt, whatever, right? I can't afford it is like the surface level excuse. Underneath it is, am I worthy? Am I deserving? Do I deserve to invest in myself? Do I deserve to be cared for? Do I deserve someone's attention on me? Am I worthy of someone's attention on me? If someone's attention's on me, like, will I be uncomfortable? Will I run away? Will I avoid? Will I mess this up again? I've tried before and failed, so I might just mess this up again. I suck at whatever this is, so I'm just going to back out and say I can't afford it. None of those are actually money reasons, but sometimes people will label them as money reasons. And if you're, you know, like if you want to support someone to experience the change that you're asking them to do, because if you're in a service-based business, you're supporting them to heal, transform, grow, evolve something that's like kind of an intangible thing. It's like people aren't just like buying t-shirts from you, okay? Right? And so you're dealing with all of the worthiness that comes up with, am I worth an hour a week, $200, to spend on myself, to have someone sit with me, do I even deserve that? And it's like that's an unconscious belief that a lot of our clients are carrying. So when you're in the sales process, if you can sit there and breathe with them as they are very slowly working through, do I deserve it? Am I worthy of it? Is it valid for me to want this? Am I going to be judged for wanting it? Is my family going to think it's stupid? You know, are my kids going to be mad that I'm not cooking them dinner because I'm off doing, whatever I'm doing with this investment? Like, there's so much happening that we can't see that they're not vocalizing. So the best thing you can do is sit with them, not solve it, not fix it, not cancel it. Just okay, right? Just be with the pause. Okay. Overselling by explaining I have so much to offer and then prospects become overwhelmed. A confused mind says no. That's one of my like reminders in the back of my head. A confused mind says no. If I'm confused, I'll say to you, okay, I need to sit with this. And if someone says to you, I need to sit with this, like that, I mean, okay, sit with it. But oftentimes, if the reason they're sitting with it is because they're trying to make sense of what you told them, they don't have the conscious awareness to make sense of that yet. They're not educated in the solution like you are. So confusing them and then them taking it away to try to untangle the wires, they're probably going to come back with a no, or they're going to ghost you because they're like, I can't untangle the wires. I don't know how to untangle these wires, right? Fire hose. Exactly. Okay. Um, that's scarcity not trap number two. How are we feeling about it? And knowing the solution is decision points, decision architecture, which is stage two, which we'll be mapping out in tomorrow's call. Comments, questions, thoughts. Recognizing ourselves in the stories. Oh, and I can say this stuff because I've been through all of it too. Like, and I still go through all of it. That's how we get to keep all this top of mind, right? Okay. Are we ready for number three? Scarcity top number three? Okay. Number three is that systems and structures are cold. Strategy is cold. And I see this again so much in service-based practitioners, but especially ones that deal with wellness, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical wellness, because you want to be caring and nurturing. You want to be gentle. You want to be, all these different things. And so it's like if I put too much structures in place, like that's cold. And that's not, but again, it's actually the opposite, right? Structures create support. And the more vulnerable your clients are, the more safety you can create with the effective with the right structure. So it actually the more vulnerable your clients are, the more structure serves them because they know exactly what to expect. And giving them a sense of what to expect reduces uncertainty, right? And if you have vulnerable clients, high degrees of uncertainty are very intolerable to their nervous system. And it's not good, right? It's not good. It will fry their nervous system. It will put them into some type of like freeze mode or, functional freeze mode where it's like they might seem like they're present, but like nothing's really getting through. Um, is uncertainty. And how do we resolve uncertainty is with the right structures and the right containers where we can very clearly lay out, here's how we resolve this. Here's how we work through this. Here's the protocol. Here's the methodology. Here's the system. Here's what to expect. First A, then B, then C, right? And the more you have a developed protocol, system, methodology, it solves so many problems because number one, it changes the sales conversation from being hire me to being, well, here's the process that we're going to go through. First, we're going to do A, then we're going to do B, then we're going to do C, and here's what to expect each step along the way. That's not me saying buy my coaching package. That's me telling them, here's how we solve this problem, right? And now they can be empowered to be like, okay, that journey sounds like something I can walk through. I know what to expect. It seems reasonable. It seems like it might solve my problem, especially if you give me some scenarios of other situations where it's like, oh yeah, I worked with another client and they experienced difficulty with sales too. And I taught them this methodology and now they do it all the time and they feel really comfortable doing it and they're attracting new clients because of it. You're like, oh, okay, well, this makes sense then. Right. So it's like creating safety, creating certainty, but having a system in place does that. And one of the mistakes I see people making is I teach people to create workshops or master classes or some type of like event that's going to sell and position. Okay. This is um, like a stage two. It's a decision point for someone. And so I teach people how to do that. But the biggest mistakes I see people making is they say to themselves, well, I'm going to do a workshop on topic A, and I'm going to just channel the content because I know this stuff like the back of my hand. And you do. You can totally wing it and channel the content, and it will be such an impactful workshop where the people are like, wow, I learned so much. But if that's all you do and you don't build in the right kinds of decision points to your workshop, it will not generate sales because your client doesn't know. They don't know what's the journey or what's the step, what's the decision point? How do I get the outcome? It just leaves it to being like, okay, good to know. Like, okay, good to know. And I'll just like go home and now I know that. And it's like they they can't lead themselves through it. It's like the blind leading the blind, right? It's like they don't know, and it creates that feeling of like, well, okay, like, all right, thank you, bye. And we're like, okay, am I supposed to follow up with them? Am I not supposed to follow up with them? Do they want to talk to me? Do they not want to talk? Because we just channeled the content without a structure, right? Whereas if we channel the content, do that, but within certain guidelines, then create the right structure around your channeled content, you'll be leading people to a decision point. And that's the key. Because then you'll know if you can follow up with them or not, because they'll be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense to me. And you can be like, oh, do you feel like that type of process would help you resolve your problem with X? Like, yeah, that probably would. Right. And so now you're starting to get somewhere. Now you're starting to get to a place where it's like, we can actually have a conversation around this rather than me just be like, so do you want to buy a session? Which is like the awkwardest thing ever. Right. Okay. So that's number three. Uh, which is there's a few ways that this maps out. It maps out in your all three stages, stage one, stage two, stage three. It also maps out in that do you have a clear and transparent methodology or a protocol or a system that you use for your clients? Because that's where it creates that sense of like, oh, I'm not just like booking a session with you. I'm actually working through a protocol with you. I'm working through a methodology with you. I see how I'm supposed to go from A to B to C with you. And it creates trust that I'm actually going to get a result. And it creates a sense of certainty in the unknown of like, I don't know what this is going to feel like. I don't know what this is going to look like. But like now I at least have an outline of what to expect. Right. And those kinds of things will, number one, increase your client results. Number two, increase your conversion rate. Number three, increase your client safety, increase referrals. Like it will work in so many ways that we don't even recognize, both for the client's experience, for the financial aspect, uh, for the professionalism of your business. Like it's truly a win, 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 win when we can map out a protocol and walk our clients through it in a sales conversation. It on so many levels, it is going to make them get better outcomes with you. And it's going to make sales easier, more fun, more enjoyable, and not sticky. And yeah, all of the above. Oh, right. Sharing my actual coaching method, right, Vicky? Absolutely. Because honestly, like it becomes second nature to you guys because you do this stuff all day long. It's your jam. But when you think about the fact that you've spent years studying this, years working with other people through this, probably for many of you, almost creating your own methodology because you've studied from multiple modalities and you pick and pull and you create your own magic with it, which I love and I'm fully on board with. But it's like, how the heck would a client know what to expect of that? They have no idea, right? And when you think about the fact that your client is just like in stress brain, how would they know, right? So, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about as well on day 2 and day 3. Any questions about this so far? I am just a chatterbox today. We didn't get as far as I was hoping we'd get on day 1, and we're almost at the top of the hour. So I don't know. I might give you some of the numerology stuff for homework, but we'll touch base on it again tomorrow as well. Any questions on what we've covered so far? You guys are all with me? Yeah, pivoting from one-on-one clients and one-offs to long-term transformational coaching, a big mindset shift comes with that. Absolutely, Vicky. And we'll talk about that some more on day 2 because I mean, I'm of the opinion that everybody should have 2 different styles of offers. You should have stop yelling at the kids. What? Uh,
I had a
uh,
typo, so I
oh,
had
what's go?
I had a typo that I wrote earlier, and I said stop yelling, stop telling, or stop yelling.
Right? Yes. So good. Um, yeah, I'm of the opinion that everyone should have like 2 different offers at least. You should have a profitable offer that's a little bit more leveraged, and then a profitable offer that's maybe less leveraged but more intimate, right? And it doesn't have to be that you get there instantly, but that you're working to it. And so for different business models, it can look like different things. But, to Vicky's example, it might be one-on-one coaching to a group coaching container. Those are my 2 containers as well. I have like private coaching as well as coaching in a group container. And it's like both are valuable. Coaching with a group is amazing because you build relationships, you build connections, you learn from each other. There's potential collaborations involved. When other people share their stories, the people who are more like introverted and don't want to share can learn from hearing from experiences. And you can charge a lower price point for it and still make it profitable, right? Whereas an intimate container is like, it's just me and you. We're going to go deep. It's going to be very intimate. If you feel vulnerable to share, or if you want something highly customizable to your unique situation, or if you don't have time for it to take too long, then you pick the intimate container. And that's going to be more expensive, but it's going to be very specific to you. Both are good, right? Like, and as practitioners, we might have preferences of like, oh, I kind of like this style better. That's great. But I really encourage people to do a combination of both. And then also like one that I would call like a hybrid, where like I was talking to the Chinese medicine doctors about this. So a hybrid would be pick your niche. So one of the niches that they were talking about was fertility. Okay, so as a Chinese medicine doctor who specializes in fertility, a hybrid offer could look like I have a fertility group that meets twice a month or once a month, and every month I teach them a practice, a herbal supplement, some qigong, whatever, that is advice I would give to every single fertility client of mine. Okay, but they get that, and they also get a once a month treatment with me, or a once or twice a month treatment with me. So it's a hybrid. They get a little bit of both. And that's really cool because depending on what you do, there is value in being supported in a community. So fertility would be a great example of that. There's value of not feeling alone, of feeling like you're part of a shared experience, of feeling like there's other people who have your back. But like if I'm dealing with fertility, like I want the doctor to give me some intimate support and like customized solutions that are for me, right? So that to me, that's a great example of like a good hybrid offer. Was that your question, Vicky? Does that help? Leveraged, intimate, and hybrid. It's like both. The cool thing is, and a lot of people get overwhelmed by it, but once you have your methodology in place, going from one-on-one to leverage is so easy. So easy. You just need to have your methodology in place. And if it feels daunting, it's because your methodology is not in place yet. And that's okay. Like we can for sure map that out. And it doesn't have to be as complicated as it, it's like if you even are like, well, with every client, I go through these 3 steps. There's your methodology. Right? Okay. Where am I taking you next? I am taking you to talk about numerology. I know we're at time, and I'm really sorry about that. I was super chatty with the myths. So I'm going to go through this with you on the relatively quick side. If you have to hop off, you'll get the replay. But I would encourage you to take a look at this for homework if you can't stay. And if you can't stay, we'll do it. We'll do the speedy version of numerology. And some of you are already numerologists. Some of you already know the answers to these questions anyways. So there you go. Some of you have gotten readings from me already. So there's the handout. Um, right? The numerology is so fun. Okay, here's the handout. What I want you to do first is I want you to calculate your ruling number. I'm trying to find the share button. There's the share button. The first step I want you to do is calculate your ruling number. So your ruling number is you take out all the digits from your birthday, so month, day, year, 4-digit year, and you split them all out. Okay, so January 15th, 1990, you split them all out and you add them all up together. Okay, and once you've done that, pop it in the chat so I know where you're at. Yeah, Vicky, I don't love the terminology master numbers, so I don't tend to speak to master numbers. If people do have multiples in like that, like 33.4 or 20 or 33.6 or 22.4 or something like that, then I'm like, look at the 3 and look at the 6. Um, or if you've got, but to me, it also works if you don't. Like I'm at 25.7. So I'm going to start with the 7, but then I can also look at the 2 and the 5 to give me like hints, or like a lighter influence. For you, it's the 33.6. So the 6 is your most important influence, and the 3 is also going to be very strong. So I would, kind of look at those together. It's kind of a nuance thing, but um, yeah, so if you're an 11, I would stick with an 11. 11s and 2s are very, very similar. The main difference with the 11 is I would say it adds a layer of intuition, although 2s are very intuitive as well. And with an 11, it also adds a layer of what I tend to call like spiritual accountability, meaning that you have an important role. Um, at the spiritual level, whether spiritual relationships are really important to you or part of your role is to be kind of like a leader in that. The part about the leader, the word leader that gets confusing to people is like, what does that mean? And to me, like, it's not about the title or the role. It's more about the embodiment and the example you live by. So and I think that's where the word accountability comes in, right? Because it's like as an 11, you really need to be on path. And when you're off path, you know it. That's typically what I find. Let's see. So 33.6, 4, 4, 8, 8, 11, 5, 6, 10. Beautiful. So I've given some very brief descriptions here as to what these are. If you want more detailed ones, I mean, you can definitely Google it or whatever, but I would also really try to like lean into your own intuition and think about like what do these words mean to me? Okay, so we had a couple of 4s, right? Yeah, a couple of 4s. So let's look at the 4. So the builder, structured, scalable business models, they thrive in teaching foundations and step-by-step strategies. Oftentimes I find when 4s see this, depending on the 4, sometimes they'll resist the structure part. And they're like, I'm really bad at that. But when they really understand their step-by-step systems, or the fact that the physical body is very important in the process for them, that being grounded is really critical for them, then it starts to actually make sense to them. So seeing how that hits with you, feel free to pull out what pieces land for you. But with the four, embodiment, groundedness, and having like a system that you can lean on for support is kind of what they really thrive in. Um, Innovative leader. Oh, you are leading a movement. I love that. So yeah, high impact visibility. Tens are all about innovation and change, right? So how do you facilitate innovation and change? That's the gift that the 10 brings. The 11, uh, transformation, soul alignment is very, very critical. Visionary, they often have like an ideal that they are wanting to help people get to a certain type of ideal or guide people to an ideal. The six is very nurturing. So sixes are great at balancing and harmonizing energy. They are very deeply compassionate, very community minded. Did I miss anybody? Five. The five is nurturing and change making. So fives, this description doesn't really capture the change making that much. That's what happens when I try to narrow it down to one sentence. But fives are here to, they value freedom so much that they're really here to initiate and instigate change to the favor of freedom. Okay. So they need some variety and they need to instigate change, and they can be really good at supporting other people through that because they are kind of like free-hearted, free-minded. And the eight is very eights go deep. They are very good at leading. They are very good at expanding. They are very driven towards excellence. And yeah, they have the capacity to go very deep with their clients. Did I catch all the numbers? The thriving on social media. It doesn't have to be social media. Like obviously numerology was invented far before social media was invented. It's thriving in self-expression, thriving in expressing yourself. So before the advent of numerology, it would have been like, I don't know, talking in the town square or like talking up people who came to your little market, or you know what I mean? So it's this self-expression and using your voice as an amplifier. So the modern day equivalent is like media, branding, messaging, speaking, writing. I guess speaking and writing would have been relevant no matter what time frame you were born into. Isabella, if you want to go deeper into your numbers, you can book a one-on-one numerology reading with me, and I'd be happy to go in depth into your chart. You can message me if you want me to give you like a little free guide I have that gives a deeper explanation of each one. So if anyone here wants just the free guide, let me know. Just send me an email after or an Instagram message saying free guide. Or if you want to book a private reading with me, you can let me know and I'll send you the information to book a private reading as well. So those tell you a little bit about who you are. And yes, thank you, Christine. Yes, I also teach numerology. I'm teaching practical numerology, is now going to be merged into becoming the Oracle. So if people want to study numerology with me, I'll be opening a cohort in the summer for that. A secret society in person? Vicky, I want to come to your secret society. I love that. How fun. That sounds amazing. Okay, so the other thing you can do is when you look at your energy, you can start to see energy is like puzzle pieces. Okay, so every single person out there has a gift they're meant to share, and they're also seeking something, or they have like what I would call an energetic ask. We all do. We all have something to give, and we're all asking for something. So when you look at your codes, you can start to see who would be drawn to work with me, who would be seeking this type of energy. And so I attempted to kind of explain it in this thing here. It's like if you are those numbers, these are the types of people who want to work with you. But I can also take it even deeper with your soulmate client codes, which I'll be talking a little bit more about tomorrow. And in numerology, we can also look at your soul agreements and who you have soul agreements with and what that means for their hopes, their fears, their desires, what matters to them. And it's kind of like energetic niching in a sense. I wouldn't use it to pick like your skill. Like your skill is your skill, what you're good at, what you're trained in, what you're educated in. But like it's part of your energy codes in terms of who is best served by you and how do I speak the language that will attract them to me. Does that make sense? That's how I like to look at soulmate codes. Yeah. So that I ask a few little questions at the bottom, and that's kind of your little homework assignment and reflecting on your numerology. There's a few little questions here that if you want to sit with over the night, I would highly recommend you do so. You can do this numerology or not, or based on what you already know about your business, or you can also do it based on like, this is what I wish my business was. Either one's fine. But I do encourage you to try to come up with even just something because the class tomorrow is going to be so much easier to build upon if you can kind of pin yourself to who I serve. And it can be like I serve service-based entrepreneurs. Boom, simple, right? Very straightforward. Who do I serve? It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be I work with people who are healing from childhood trauma, or I work with people who are, um, middle-aged women who are finding themselves, as they struggle through midlife, whatever. Okay. Just think very clearly, like, who do I serve and try to come up with it in one problem or one word. And then the problem I solve. Okay. So service-based entrepreneurs is who I serve. The problem I solve is that they're unstable in their business, either with a lack of money or a lack of clients. Okay, that's the problem. So try to crystallize it into like a phrase. And I know there's a lot of us who are very creative and we're like, it's a paragraph. And if it's a paragraph, that's totally fine. But if it's a paragraph, put your paragraph into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to turn your paragraph into a phrase for you. Okay? Because the simpler you can make this, the so much easier it will be going forward. And you can still keep the paragraph. I'm not saying delete it, but I'm saying like try to crystallize it into like a phrase just for the purposes of our exercises tomorrow because it's going to be so much easier to build stage one, stage two, stage three if you can say it short. Okay. The outcome they want. So for me, it's like, well, they want a predictable, stable business. That's quite simple, right? I could make it fluffy by being like, they want to feel fulfilled and they want clients that they are attracted to and they want the like all of that stuff. And that's all relevant and true, but like really trying to get to the crux of the issue here. So they want peace of mind, they want excitement for their life, they want their health back, they want like whatever. Okay. You might not be able to do your brand thesis, and don't worry about that. We can talk about that tomorrow. But if you can at least crystallize one, two, and three here, that would be huge. The more tangible you make it, the better. And this is the tricky thing because arguably this is one of the biggest market shifts that I'm noticing in the last like, I don't know, few years, 2 years, I would say, maybe 3 years, is that it used to be easier online to sell intangible outcomes. And what I'm finding with the way the market is now, and I don't know if it's going to stay like this or not. And I think anybody who tells you they know for sure what's going to happen with the market, they don't know. They're guessing. Everyone is. But what I would say is that, you know, people are careful with what they invest in, and they want to know that when they invest in something, it's going to get them a result. And if you can show them what kind of result they can get, they will spend their money. Where they hesitate is if it's too intangible and they can't quite grasp what they're going to get, they'll hesitate. You'll still get some sales. I'm not saying people don't buy it. They do buy it. But the more grounded and concrete the outcome is, and the more I can like wrap my mind around what I'm actually getting, the more likely I am to invest, the easier it is to invest. And you would get the people who are happy with buying intangibles would buy from you either way. But the people who need to see like something solid, they'll only buy for you if you can be very clear in, I know what you're struggling with. Here's what you want, and here's how I'm going to get you there. If I can tell you those three things, you'll be like, I'm in, right? And it doesn't, I mean, yeah, when the economy is a little bit down and people are like struggling with cash flow, they're more careful with how they spend their money. And so, whether they consider what you're doing a necessity or not, or whether they have the disposable income for it or not, who's to say? But People spend money all the time. Just go to the mall and see how much money people are spending on bags and bags of crap every single day. Or go to Costco and see what people have filled up their shopping carts with. Or go to the airport and see how many people have booked vacations. Or go to the car lot and see how many people are lined up to buy new cars. Like people buy stuff all the time. So don't buy into the narrative that people aren't spending money. People are spending money, but they want to know what they're spending money on, and they want to know that it's going to actually generate them the result. So the more we can be clear on that, the easier it's going to be to translate our work into a sale. Does that make sense? I know, right? It's like if Home Depot can sell out of those like 80-foot skeletons that they were selling, surely we can sell things that are going to actually change people's lives, right? Like where do people store those things is what I don't understand. Like, who has a garage big enough to put a light, like a house, a building size skeleton in? Did you guys see those that were like so popular? Like, they're so super cute. Don't get me wrong. I'm just like, where would you put that when it's not Halloween?
Now people are just dressing them up for every single holiday. We've seen a bunch that are dressed up like Christmas now, and there's one down in our neighborhood that's dressed up with like a pink and it's got hearts all over it. So they've left it out all year.
They're just gonna have
It's
to theme it,
hilarious. Yeah.
which means they're spending more money on shit at the dollar store to theme it out. It's like people have money. It's just, yeah, just a matter of how do we speak the language they need to hear? Now they're buying a storage unit. Totally. Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm 15 minutes behind schedule. So I did keep you guys a little longer than I promised, but hopefully it was worth it. Hopefully you got value from what we talked about. Before we wrap up the call, I mean, if you have to head out, not to worry. We'll see you back here at 1 o'clock tomorrow. But if you want, you can stick around, ask me questions. And I'd love to hear if anyone has any particular, like, what was your takeaway? What was the thing where you're like, I needed to hear that? That stuck with me. I always love hearing, like, what's the little golden nugget you got from the call? Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Krista. Focus on selling my method. Beautiful, Sandy. Absolutely. Really looking at the double three. I know this, and yet, ooh, Vicky, that to me, that feels like when you say that, what's coming up for me is that's your growth edge, is like the unleashing of your expression. So I love that. And I mean, it kind of makes sense with the sound bowl work you're doing and all that kind of stuff too, right? Oh, so good.
For me, it's knowing that I can do both individual and group, and that that's okay, not feel like I have to be stuck in a hole with one or the other.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, I think when you're in a sales conversation, having two options at different price points actually makes the sales conversation much easier, in my opinion. Owning my authority in actual public spaces. Whew! Yes, Vicky. I'm seeing that for you. Clarity of the sales process is a way of making buying process less awkward for both. 100%. That sharing the benefits of what you offer makes it easier for your client to say yes. Yeah, totally. And arguably, like we shouldn't want our clients to buy if they don't really know what they're getting themselves into. Do you know what I mean? Like if you didn't know that I was going to be talking about numerology on different things, like you shouldn't probably, and you were like, I am very against numerology. If you felt that way, you probably shouldn't buy from me. So it's a good thing that I like let you know because some people don't believe in it. It's like, well, we can either work privately and I won't do your numerology, or I'm not the right business coach for you because it does come up, right? Yeah, so good. Okie dokie, everyone. If everybody said what they needed to say, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate it so much. And tomorrow, we're going to go through the three-stage business model and we're going to walk through the newly created dashboard that I'm so excited to share with you guys. You guys are the first people to get to play with it with me. So I'm really excited to hear your feedback and hear how you like it. And yeah, we'll go from there. See you tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.